Over the years that I've been doing this, one of the questions I get most often asked is, what does it take to do what I'm doing? And that's a very difficult question to answer because there's so many different facets to the answer. First of all, the most obvious thing is you've got to be willing to make a commitment. This is not a 9-to-5 job. This is not a job that Friday afternoon when the bell rings at 5 o'clock, you go home and you take the weekend off, you head to the shore for the weekend and you forget about the job. No, this is a 365-day-a-year job, a 7-day-a-week job. It never ends. I mean, literally, other than the 4 days off around the All-Star break in July, it doesn't stop. It just goes on from season to season, from sport to sport. You've got to be fully committed. And obviously, you have to have a love for gambling. You have to have a love for handicapping. You have to have a love for sports. And you've got to have that love basically 365 days a year. And then you have to take it a step further. If I have to identify one single trait, the one thing that you've got to have, not only as a handicapper, but as a gambler, it's short-term memory deficit disorder. Now, don't laugh, guys, because it's true, and I'm going to give you the case in point, yours truly. Listen, I returned here after a 4 or 5 week absence on Thursday, right? And here on the video report, 2-0 sweep with the complimentary plays in college football to start off the season. Gave you Indiana a double-digit favorite, getting the cover at Florida International. Gave you the best bet on Thursday's card. I told you Western Kentucky would roll over Rice, and the Hilltoppers did it, a 17-point home chalk. They beat up the Owls of Rice by 32 points. Then yesterday, I give you another complimentary play here on Friday, part of another 2-0 sweep, not only giving you a baseball winner with the Indians on the run line, but giving you a college football complimentary play. Toledo, a 4.5-point road dog, winning easily by double digits, getting the job done over Arkansas State. And I broke down all 3 of those games, all 3 of those winners by double digits perfectly. Of course, my best bet, my first one of the college football season, was a top-rated 15-dime release on the Temple Owls, a 15.5-point favorite last night at home against Army. And the Cadets up 10-7 at halftime, rolled in the second half, and they won going away by double digits. So, 3-0 sweep with the complimentary plays, and my first best bet of the season, nada, zilch. I take the big-time goose egg. And guess what? It's happened before. It's going to happen again. And you know what? It was a loser. And I've forgotten about it already because you have to. Listen, it's why I've always maintained that I don't celebrate the wins, nor do I lament the losses. Now, there are a lot of guys in this business, a lot of handicappers who, if they had started off the season with 3 complimentary winners that easy and then lost their first best bet, they would be walking the ledge tonight. They would be suicidal. If they would work for me, their wives would be calling me, telling me, oh my God, he wouldn't be able to survive the next day. He's suicidal. What are you going to do? You have to call him. You have to talk him off the ledge. I am not exaggerating, guys. There are guys in this industry that can't accept losing. They don't have the balls to be able to know that sometimes you're going to lose. That's the reality. You're going to lose sometimes. Those that can't get over the losses and they dwell on the losses, or those that get so wrapped up in the euphoria that goes along with winning and they just celebrate the winners, they also have the same problem as guys that dwell on the losers. They lose focus. They often miss the next money-making opportunity. They might be staring them in the face. And that's a problem. And that's why I say you don't lament the losers and you don't celebrate the wins. Listen, it sucks to lose, but over the long haul, it's going to happen. Everything in this business is cyclical. Everything about gambling is cyclical. You're going to win and you're going to lose. And the best that you can do is over the course of the season, over the course of the years, you're going to win more than you're going to lose. And consistently over the long haul, you look to turn a profit. You're going to have winning streaks. You're going to have losing streaks. And if you can't accept that going in, don't gamble. I'm just telling you, forget about it. Because if you go in thinking you're going to win every single day, God bless you. You can think that. As long as you realize in reality is that you're not going to win every single day, you're not going to lose every single day. Again, what you're looking to achieve is that over the long haul that you're going to turn a profit. Over the long haul, that net win is going to be more than that net loss. That's the key. And that's reality. Listen, if you want someone to blow smoke up your ass, go someplace else. That's not my game. Never has been my game. You want the truth? This is what you're going to get. The fact is, I'm 3-0 with complimentary plays, and I lost my first best bet of the season. And guess what? I'll probably win today. And you know what? I have to win because sooner or later, it's all cyclical. That's how it works out. You win some, you lose some, and at the end of the long season, you turn a profit. And that's the reality of sports gambling. I don't know. I mean, sometimes people have such strange expectations when it comes to gambling. And so many handicappers and gamblers, they just can't accept the fact that sometimes you lose. I can't tell you about how many gamblers and handicappers I've heard who will say, like, for example, they had Temple. I'll never effing bet Temple again because they screwed me last night. Temple screwed you? Hold it. You bet Temple. Didn't you screw yourself by betting Temple? What did the Temple House do to you in this particular case? I mean, listen, if Temple looks like a great play 8 weeks from now, I have no problems with going back on Temple. I mean, you know, I'm the one that pulled the trigger on Temple last night, but there are some guys who will make these asinine statements like that. I'm telling you guys, gamblers and handicappers, they're a strange bunch sometimes. They got to get rooted in reality. This video is always rooted in reality. So, like I said, if you're looking for someone to blow smoke up your ass, you have come definitely to the wrong place. So, listen, all your discounts, all your coupons, all your etc. You'll find it over the homepage. Let's get started with a couple more complimentary plays. Now, of course, this being a Saturday card, you know, again, the marquee games are always going to have the sharpest lines here in the opening weekend of college play. I always feel that in college football, you concentrate the most where the odds makers concentrate the least. Opening 2 to 3 weeks of any season, especially in college football and college basketball, you always have the advantage over the odds makers because the numbers are soft and they generally don't know any more about so many of these teams than you do, but especially on the smaller games, the non-marquee games. That's where your edge is definitely magnified. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of marquee games, and again, these lines are going to be the sharpest. These are not the Western Kentucky Rice games, okay? These are not the Toledo Arkansas State games. These games are going to have sharper lines. They're going to be harder to win. That's why they're not going to be among my best bets, but these are games on a handicap that I want to talk about. And let's start with your game between Clemson and Auburn tonight. Now, Clemson is an 8-point road favorite, okay? This is a Clemson team that averaged you know, a phenomenal number of points last year because they have a phenomenal offense. Deshaun Watson, Heisman Trophy candidate, 4,104 yards passing last year, 35 touchdowns passing, ran for 1,105 yards, ran for another 12 touchdowns, has Wayne Gallmus in the backfield, ran for over 1,500 yards, has a bevy of talented wide receivers against an Auburn defense that was mediocre at best last year. Now, supposedly the Auburn defense is better this year's season, but I want to see this Auburn offense do something for once. Gus Malzahn, you know, he made his bones on his offensive genius. There hasn't been a lot of offensive genius in the Plains here the past few years. Going with quarterback Sean White, made 5 starts last season, didn't do much, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. This is a Clemson team. The last time we saw them, yes, they were losing in the national title game to a great Alabama team, a great Alabama defense. They put 40 points on the board and over 550 yards in total offense. This Auburn team was 6-6 a year ago. Now, it is true. Clemson last year had the number 10 defense in the country. They only have 4 starters back on that defense, but they had so much talent ready to step forward defensively. This is a team that gave up only 331 yards defensively a season ago. It's a big number, 8 points. I think what's going to happen that this is going to be a close game in the first half, but ultimately Clemson will get rolling in the second half, be able to extend the margin. I think this has like a 31-17, a 34-24 game final written all over it. I would not be surprised to see the public money come in on Clemson here as the day progresses, especially with this being a 9 o'clock start. So my advice is if you're going to bet Clemson, you bet Clemson early and Anyway, you always should be betting the favorites early and the dogs like 99.9% of the time. So I would go with Clemson here as my first complimentary play. Your other complimentary play, let's talk about Bama. Bama tonight playing at Jerry's Palace in Arlington. Alabama, a 12-point favorite tonight, taking on USC. Alabama, the biggest question for Nick Saban's team is who's going to be the starting quarterback. Okay, that's a big question for most teams. But when you have that Bama defense, is it really going to matter? I mean, this is a Bama defense that gave up 15.1 points a game last season, 2.4 yards per carry last season, a defense that had 52 sacks a year ago. And guess what, guys? That defense isn't any weaker. If anything, it's every bit as good. USC, on the other hand, Its defense has 4 starters back from last year's squad. And it wasn't that great to begin with a year ago. The Tide, interesting stat I uncovered. 29 of Alabama's last 33 regular season victories have come by margins of 10 points or more, where they're laying 12 points in this particular game here. And here's another interesting stat I came up with, or I discovered. Since 1999, the defending national champion, in their following season opener, 17-0 straight up. The average final score, 44-15. A 29-point average margin of victory. And again, they're laying 12 points in here. USC is going to go with an untested quarterback, a guy who's backed up Cody Kessler the past 3 years. I just don't know about the Trojans. And listen, do you really think Lane Kiffin's going to lose, the offensive coordinator, is going to lose to USC today? 12 points. This is one of those games that I think the line isn't sharp. This is one of those games that if it was played in week number 3 and the odds makers had some sense of what Alabama is about and had some sense of what USC is all about, that this game, same situation, same location in Arlington, 3 weeks from now, I think Alabama would be a 17-point favorite, okay? And I think this line goes up as the day progresses. It kicks off at 8 o'clock Eastern time. I think Alabama is the play here. Of the 2 plays, I think Alabama is the stronger of the 2 between Alabama and Clemson. I like them both, but those are your 2 complimentary plays for this Saturday card. I wish you well. Go forth, make money over the long haul. Remember, if you happen to lose short-term memory deficit disorder, I don't mean to mock the medical condition, but when it comes to gambling, really, guys, it is the key to success because you can't dwell on the losers. And if you win today, remember, you can't celebrate the winners either because tomorrow is always another day. Didn't they make a movie about that title in the 50s or something? Anyway, good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.